Hello, everybody, and welcome to British episode 230. My God, it's been a long time since I've seen you. I had a lot of moving and stuff going on. You're okay with cussing, aren't you, Eden?
Yeah. I think you asked me that last time.
Okay. I've had a lot of moving and shit going on. Life has been very busy, but I'm back. We're back. We've got a lot of episodes coming at you. So make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening, leave a review, rate it, and share it with your less offendable friends. Ladies and gentlemen and Zers, the wonderful Eden McCourt is back. Yay.
Yay!
Thank you
Sorry,
so much,
guys.
all the way from England. It's 7:11 p.m. your time. My God.
Yeah, I know it's bedtime.
Yeah.
Well, I stayed up especially late for you.
I understand. So you are 83. Is that what you're saying? Normally you had some
Yeah,
soup and then you go to bed at 7.
straight to bed. Absolutely.
I
Seven
am
sharp
right.
after
No
my cup of
ab
tea,
fab for
obviously.
you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, where can people find you, Eden? Where can people find you and support your stuff?
Oh gosh. So I am co-founder of an organization called Abortion Resistance. So I would normally link people to my socials for that. So we have a website, abortionresistance.org.uk, and you can find us on all social media platforms at Abortion Resist. However, if you want to just follow me and my personal content, it's just at Eden McCourt on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of that jazz, TikTok.
Awesome. Yeah, I have seen you going ham on some TikTok videos recently. It's good.
Goodness. People on TikTok, man, they're crazy. That is a crazy platform full of absolute weirdos. And the sad thing is, the majority of them are young, like young children. And they've just been so indoctrinated and brainwashed by kind of like really extreme ideologies that place is just a breeding ground for like hatred and misinformation.
Yeah. And
You're
it's
on
especially
there as well.
over, huh?
You're on there as well. So you probably have seen a lot of it.
I have, but I've been kicked off of it 3 times. Yeah, Chinese really don't like me. So I, well, the CCP anyway. I have lots of yellow friends. We're starting off the right way. I like this show. Okay, but yeah, TikTok's insane, but I also feel like a lot of it is potentially bots. You know how Twitter has a problem with that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know too much about bots. So I know that there is a Twitter bot problem, but I don't know how one would identify a bot, what a bot looks like, what do bots say, what are they programmed to pick up. So I just assume that everyone on TikTok isn't a bot, which is probably
Right.
super naive.
No, it's not naive. It's hopeful. But at the same time, obviously, bots can be just as obstinate and unwilling to listen as
That's true.
young liberals. So,
But how would one spot a bot?
I would say usually, okay. If they comment that any blank avatar gives me a little
Okay.
something, right?
Okay.
Even an anime avatar. I mean, I
Oh,
know that's taking a huge swath of the population and throwing them in the trash, but I'm saying that's a giveaway. And if they say something snarky, blah blah blah, and then you go to their account, it's so simple, it's so easy. A lot of people forget that you can just go to their account. One
yeah.
guy, the only death threat I've gotten, or no, death wish. The only death wish I've gotten so far, night is young. Everybody,
Yeah.
you can find me on Instagram, Peter_Feliciano. But the only death wish I got so far from a white guy, surprise, surprise. I screenshotted the picture or the message. It's very easy to do that. I've seen you do
Mhm.
that. And
Yeah,
then I
yeah, all the
went
time.
to his account. It's a public account, like silly goose, you know what I mean? Boomer, hello.
Yeah.
And so I went to his account, screenshot of his account, and said, "Hey, this guy is, a really nice guy. Wishing a person of color, even though he's a liberal person. I'm a person of color. He's wishing a person of color to die."
Yeah.
So I would say probably the empty the anime, or also if you go to them like 5 followers, you know what I mean, like 5 to 20
Yeah,
followers.
two, bit sus.
Yeah, bit sus.
11.
Bit sus. Right.
Okay, well,
Then
I'm going to
again,
keep an eye out for that.
you know what's sad too, though, is that I was an uncool kid. I was real fucking uncool. I mean, when I was in junior high and high school, I was a budding alcoholic, and I didn't like myself. I didn't like life. It was a fight every day between who I hated more, myself or everybody else. Um, and so I was going to say that back in the day, like all these people who would, comment disparagingly on your TikTok or on mine are usually just like uncool kids. Like it's
Yeah,
not like
people
they
who
have
don't
a
have a
like,
social life.
no. In
Yeah.
fact, I have a friend, and I've talked about this on the show. I have a friend who's a teacher in Brooklyn, and she told me that they, why did they gave an assignment to the college. It's a college. It's not even like a tech college. It's just a college, a regular or whatever. So put
Hmm.
an assignment to the students. Hey, why did you want to come to this school, and what are you looking forward to out of the school?
Hmm.
And a huge portion of the students, and these are regular kids, huge portion of the students said, hopefully, I can get some friends together and like,
Oh, that's so sad.
right? And
That's
I'm just
really
thinking,
sad.
right. And I'm just thinking like, well, it makes sense. Not only have we, a lot of these kids have been inside for the last couple of years, but also it's much more, this is our friend life. You know what I mean? People
Mhm. Yeah,
online,
people
avatars.
online.
Right.
Well, it's interesting. I never had to go through any of that because I was homeschooled, which I know is kind of big in America, but doesn't seem to be as big in here. But it is like there's a massive homeschool community in London. So I didn't really experience that. And people think, homeschooled kids, they don't have friends. They're a bit weird. They're a bit socially awkward. But what they don't know is that actually when you're homeschooled, you have a wider range of friends. Bigger sphere. You get kids who go to school, kids who are homeschooled, and you kind of mix in with everyone. So yeah, I don't get it, but I understand it and
Okay.
understand now why they take to TikTok to express their rage.
Yeah. To express their rage. And also it's consequence free. There's no consequence
Exactly.
to it.
Exactly. All they can do is get reported. No one's going to tell their parents. No one's going to tell their friends. They can remain like somewhat anonymous. But there's actually a really good TikTok account, and it's called, I think, uh, Houdini or something like that. I don't know if you've seen it. And it's this guy who actually tracks down people who write really, really like death threats and stuff like that, really awful comments. And he'll send it to teachers, to parents, so that the kids are actually held accountable, which I think is pretty good. I mean, I don't understand why parents would let their kids on TikTok unsupervised anyway, but he's actually kind of holding them to accountability. So I think that's kind of good.
Yeah, I think that's it could be a little weird, especially if it's like a
Yeah.
kid. But then again, I mean, back in the day, this is the thing. I was an unpopular kid, blah blah blah, and I was bullied. If I had the opportunity to bully other kids, right, and
Mm-hmm.
to turn that rage I had toward everyone else and myself and the bullies outward, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
most bullies are bullied, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
kids of
Yeah.
abused,
Yeah.
right? So if I had the opportunity to turn that on an anonymous person or somebody who said something that I disagree with and have no consequence and have nobody and be seen as a virtuous person, my
You would have
God,
done
I
it.
would have been one of those kids.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't
anything
know.
that helps, anti that is good. I
Say
think.
that again.
I said so anything that helps go against that,
Go
even if
against it. Yeah. It's got to be a
yeah,
good. Yeah. Good thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
So
Anyway, it's crazy.
yeah, so you've had a lot of stuff going on TikTok, but you were also with chatting with Zuby
I
a few weeks.
know that was really cool. It was actually really cheeky because I I emailed him asking to go on his podcast,
Really?
and then by the time it came for the podcast to actually be filmed, he thought that I had asked him onto mine, and so he was like, "Are you going to send me the link?" And I was like, actually, you're the one that's going to be on your podcast." So it was a bit cheeky, but I got away with it. So I know you can't complain. Can't complain.
Maybe it's because he thought that he was going on Scary Spice's show. That's what because you look like Scary Spice. Has anyone ever said that? You look a little like Scary Spice?
No, I feel like I'm too pale though. Do you know what I mean? I'm so pasty. I would love to be as dark and rich as Scary Spice, but I just look at me.
No, I know. I'm half Puerto Rican. I look, my skin color is like Irish. Look at that.
Yeah, yeah. It's so sad. It's so
Yeah.
sad.
I thought that coming to Austin, because I moved to Austin about a month ago, and I thought that would make me more brown, but it's not doing it. I don't
Hasn't
know what it is.
worked.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
Where did you come from before that? So where were you before Austin?
I was in New York.
Oh wow, that's a big move.
Mhm.
Do you love it? Are you happy you
Um,
moved?
Well, I'm very happy I moved. Yeah. Too many times I think I've seen this come up a few other times, when we talk about like we shouldn't make decisions based on the lesser of two evils. At a certain
Mm,
point, if there's a gun to my head, I have to kind of make it. So I don't know if I'm in love with Austin yet. I know I really am happy I moved out of New York.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and why are you really happy you moved out of New York? Just because it's so liberal, or
Liberal is a bad word for it, although it is true, or not bad word. It's not as accurate. So the thing I've talked about is that it's oppressive, and it's
oh,
oppressive
really?
not just in reality, but also subconsciously. So
Okay.
one of the things I've talked about, and I think it's similar probably to England or at least London. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what killed San Francisco and what is killing New York and what I believe is killing a lot of these cities is the oppressive unspoken rules
Mm-hmm.
that we all have to agree on the same things,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And there's unspoken, and also it's spoken. It's real fucking spoken. All the stuff online and on the teachers and everybody. We all have to agree with this. We all have to agree, and that feeling. It's not. I mean, there's lots of people in Austin who believe differently than I do. Ask
Mm-hmm.
anybody in Texas, and Austin is like San Francisco to them. But they don't have power here, which is nice. You know what I mean? So like there's less of a, and same thing with New York is that the prices go up, the fear goes up, the
Yep.
keeping up with the woke Joneses goes up, and that's just too much. That's just too
It's too
much. And
much,
plus I'm a musician, and there's no music going on in New York, so I came to Austin.
isn't there?
Mhm.
Interesting.
Unless you're in Broadway and double vaxxed.
Yeah.
and or doing TV and movies and double vaxxed and boosted, I believe. So
Yeah.
yeah, unless you're willing to play the game. And for my genre, it's
Yeah.
not.
You're not. You're not. You're not meant to be on Broadway.
I mean, although I could. I
Yeah, I know
actually,
you've got a great voice.
I have a great voice, and look at this
Yeah,
face.
I
Uh,
know.
but I actually have played. What was I in? I was in Children of Eden, a play by
Oh,
what's something I can't remember the name of the guy, but I played God.
oh, did you?
I did. I was typecast.
Oh, that's great. Well, you can see that.
Speaking of, so you were homeschooled. I'm interested, especially in this because I think I was homeschooled for like 1 year, maybe first
Okay.
grade, and then moved on to first grade in public school. But part of the reason I moved to Austin, I'm looking to prepare myself for an eventual family. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm drinking out of fucking glass jars, fucking plastic. You
Like
know
a
what I mean?
straw.
Right. Metal straw, stainless steel, clean that shit. I'm learning how to grow my own herbs. You know what I mean? I'm getting
Good.
ready.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
getting ready.
I'm getting ready. I'm gonna get me a little compound. I mean homestead. And learn how to shoot more, and so I can teach my kids to be a
Well,
little more self-sufficient. Homeschooling, hopefully, but I don't know. I definitely know that public school ain't it. But okay, so what was did your parents know out of the gate that that's what they wanted to do, or was
no,
it okay?
no, they didn't. So my mum is she. So okay, so I was put into nursery school. I don't know how the system works in America. It's a little bit different to here, but it's the kind of same principle. So I was put into nursery when I was 3, 4 years old. And after I think 3 weeks, I was coming back with a lot of dodgy stuff. So I was like swearing at my parents. I was coming back with some really strange ideas about life that I'm not going to go into on this. But my mum was kind of a bit like, whoa, she's how old? And she's swearing at us and she's come back with all this kind of stuff that we don't really want her to be knowing at this age in her life because she's a child. And so at this point, my auntie, who lives in England as well, she had started homeschooling her daughter. And the reason was just because they couldn't find a school that they liked in their area. So she was like, well, she's young, might as well just homeschool her. So my mum was like, all right, well, we'll try it out with Eden. And if it doesn't work, we'll kind of put her back in school. I think my dad, some family members at first were quite opposed to it, just because, again, there's a kind of stereotype that you're going to turn out quite weird, wacky, which is true a bit, but not as much as people say it is. Who isn't weird and wacky? And so then they took me out. I was reading by the time I think I was 4.5, and that was it. They never looked back, never went to school. I went to uni in Canada. And when I have kids, when my kids come, then I'm definitely going to homeschool. And the reason being is because I've been to hundreds of schools around the UK and spoken to students about various life issues. And I just could not in good conscience send my child to a school in this country, because I just don't think that they are great for kids.
Right.
So, yeah.
In your perspective, through your experience, do you feel that what is the percentage between malevolence and inadequacy as far as, incompetence?
That's a really difficult question. Malevolence and incompetence. I would say that the system at the minute is a malevolent system. I do not think the system is designed to be producing well-rounded, well-educated individuals. But I would say with the teachers, sorry to any English teachers out there, a lot of it is incompetence. And a lot of it is, again, it's, I think that sounds really harsh, but I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I just do think that's it from my experience and from what I've seen. The teachers don't know much outside the books they're teaching, and they don't know how to speak to children. They don't know how to delve into deep topics and discuss things in a way that's appropriate, and also in a way that the children will also respect them. I mean, that's not to say all teachers, but certainly from the majority that I've seen, they'd get me in to do things that they, didn't want to talk to the kids about because they didn't know how to, or they were scared of losing their jobs, or they were scared of being reported, which is fair enough. But the kids have been raised in a way that now they think that's acceptable to report people who disagree with them, or who play devil's advocate, or who may show some kind of hint of having a different opinion to them. And so, I mean, it's just a big circle, a vicious circle.
Right. I will say the fact, by the way, before I forget, the fact that in England you can go to jail for racist tweets, you deserve to lose the empire for that one. Okay.
Well, when I was in Glasgow, I sat on in the subway stations, they have signs on there saying, "Do you think someone is committing a hate crime? If so, call the Scottish police." Do you think someone's what? That is insane. Call the police because you think someone might be thinking something hateful.
Right.
Anyway,
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. And it's all come from, this is the worst part. And it's similar to what I was talking about, what's killing New York and many cities in the West, is I want to be nice. It's come from a place of niceness. It's not coming from malevolence. It's at the very tippy top, the lizards.
Yeah.
They're absolutely malevolent, but it's a bunch of people in the middle, the teachers, who are like, well, I'm white and I don't want to hurt anybody black's feelings. So you know what? I'll just shut my mouth and report somebody. And a mouse wants a cookie? Sure, have a cookie. Oh, you want that too? Okay. Oh, and you want that too? And then all of a sudden, the boot is on the neck.
It's even with parents. A lot of parents these days of lots of children, they just want to be nice to their children. They don't want to teach them discipline. They don't want to restrict things from them. They want them to have everything because they don't want to upset them, because it will disturb the parents' peace. It might cause a bit of chaos. It's going to cause a little bit of friction short term. And so they're not willing to kind of teach them any kind of, discipline or any life lessons for fear of not being nice.
Right. And I have this, and I know it's easy to say because I don't have kids at the moment, but I know my experience with a lot of other things, and I'm willing to be the bad guy. I will happily be the bad guy. I will be the asshole. Feel free. Absolutely. If my kid comes home at 10 years old, Daddy, I think I want to cut off my pee-pee. Sorry, bro. You got about 8 years before you can do that. Feel free to dress however the fuck you want, whatever. It'll last probably a couple weeks until you realize, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to chemically you or maim you based on your feelings
and that's really reasonable. But the thing is, the world now makes it out that it's unreasonable, that the child should have everything they want, that they are essentially the person in control. And it's interesting because I like have a dog, right? And I like kind of look into like pack mentality, and you know how they have all the alphas. I know sounds like it's going somewhere weird, but it's not. And it's almost like in the family cell, the children have now become the top of the pack, and the parents are the kind of subordinate to the wishes of the children, because the children, they've given them dominance. You know, I'm comparing it to a dog pack. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but that's kind of my comparison, so people can
Yeah.
understand. But
No, no,
anyway, yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. No, yeah, the fact, they've essentially turned over on their back and are showing their belly, like, please, I'll get you
Yes.
everything you want. Just and also similar to what our conversation was a second ago about malevolence versus incompetence, I also think it's overwhelm. You know what I mean? We're in a position now where the teachers are in charge of 40 fucking, 50,
Yeah.
a huge, much more than they used to have been.
Yeah.
And each one of those teachers is responsible for that and has a ton of homework and has a ton of, and also the bureaucracy is on their necks. Like, you need standardized testing. You need to do this. Show us this, blah, blah, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah. And I've talked to a lot of teachers who have worked in the public realm, who feel undervalued, who feel overwhelmed, who feel like they don't
Yeah.
even get an atta girl or nothing. They don't get, they don't get the resources they need. And so they have their hands behind their back. So anything that, will kind of shift. Okay, you want to do that. Okay, sure. You want me to put up a flag? Okay, you want me to say, okay, you want me to post something? Okay, fine. Just let me have some peace.
Yeah. Which is actually a real shame. And maybe then, like, going back to my other kind of comment about incompetence, maybe it's actually not that. Maybe it is just because they have their hands tied. And you're right, they're in charge of so many kids. And a girl that I know, she's studying to be a primary school teacher, and she's doing like placement. And she's even said, like, this is impossible. How am I supposed to give any child time or attention or the care and education they need when there's like 35 of them in the class? It's impossible. And then you have the parents as well putting on the pressure for teachers, because they want the teachers to parent their kids. They're expecting that, So maybe it isn't an issue of like incompetence. Maybe it is literally just because they are just worked to the ground, and, everyone is out to get them.
Right. Now, what was, from your experience, from what you can remember, what was the time commitment as far as your parents, to homeschool you?
Well, mum, it was full-time job. And I'm like, well, my family kind of privileged. I mean, it's not like we're super rich or anything, but, my dad works very, very hard, and he always has. And so my mum was able to stay at home and homeschool full-time, which is, again, also a tremendous job that I don't think gets enough credit. So shout out to all the homeschooling mums out there, because it's tough. And my dad went out to work. So my dad would sometimes like help me with maths and stuff, when it's stuff that my mum was like, whoa. But other than that, it was pretty much my mum. Yeah.
And I'm putting myself in that position, not only like, and I think part of this is just, it's a normal, natural, age occurrence, as far as where I'm at, but I'm leveling up maturity wise and masculinity wise into the next realm. Like, I've always been like this. Yeah, I'm an alpha guy, and I, whatever. And, I know it's stereotypical, but for me, it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna get all these girls, and I'm but now it's like, I'm looking at fucking growing herbs, like, you know what I mean? And like having like the last girl, like really, God, this is the last girl. Are you serious? Right now I have a girl, and it's going well. I don't know. We're still a couple months in, so who knows, blah, blah, blah. But
does she know you're growing herbs?
Oh yeah. We were on Zoom. We were on Zoom at the nursery picking out like which kind of herbs.
That's really nice.
Yeah, thank God for hippie girls, you know what I mean? But like, because I'm positioning myself that way, I'm like looking at my potential partner to be like that, you know what I mean? And ideally down for the homeschooling thing, because I'm willing to sacrifice my body and my time to provide for my family. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'll work 14 hours a day. I'll work with, Miley Cyrus or something crappy like that to produce her music. Like, fine, if it means my kids get to eat and protect themselves and learn, and I provide my wife with whatever she needs in order to do that and feel okay with herself, or have this other, like, go for it. I'm willing to work hard, like similar to what it sounds like your dad was,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank
I
you.
mean, if you're picking out herbs over the phone, it's gonna be great. She's a keeper.
Right. And now I'm in Austin, so now I can get guns and I can, really, ideally, protect myself well and things like that,
Yeah.
Um,
Don't
I
have
know,
that over here, so.
I know London waved bye-bye to that a long time ago. So let's get into the meat of the other stuff. You and I know each other because we worked on an episode and we follow each other online for a couple of years now, or a year and a half or so. Um, can you tell us about the? It's called abortion resistance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, a few friends of mine. Wait, hang on. How in depth do you want this actually? Because I could go on for ages. Do you want like a short, medium,
Give me
long?
well. Okay. Give me a medium. But
Okay, medium.
also I might interject because
Yeah, yeah.
I also want to talk about the meat of the actual stuff. But talk about your.
Perfect. All right. Okay. So abortion resistance was basically created earlier this year. I think it's about 4 or 5 months old now. And my friends initially came up with the idea because they felt that although there are so many amazing pro-life organizations in the UK, there was kind of like there wasn't an organization specifically dedicated to helping open the discussion for young people. And so they really wanted to start something that was youth focused and youth led. And so from that, the idea of abortion resistance came about. And I earlier this year got involved and kind of helped lift it off the ground a little bit from the kind of expertise, I guess you could say, that I had from doing pro-life work for longer than, for the past, 3 years before that. So yeah, we launched in March, and again, yeah, very much youth-led, youth-focused. So we have kind of different pillars of our organization. So we've got one of them which is kind of very much social media outreach. We think it's really important for people, especially in the UK, to see that there is a group of young people who are actively and loudly anti-abortion and who are making a presence or getting a presence, keeping a presence online. And then we have regular rallies. So they'll be usually in the streets of London, outside Parliament. So far, we've only had 2, but we have another one coming up, and they're kind of usually themed. So the way that we've done it, giving away our tactics here, the way we've done it is that we've themed it around things that people who are pro-choice could find in common with pro-lifers. So, for example, the first one was about coerced abortion. Everyone agrees that coerced abortion is wrong. So it was a way to find common ground, get to chatting to members of the public in London, saying, there is stuff we can agree on. We may not agree on the whole issue, but look, we found common ground, and that's good enough to start with. Then we had our other one on kind of like fetal development, which was all about the kind of scientific facts around fetal development. And we got everything from the NHS website, which is the National Health Service. It was very interesting because we were in Trafalgar Square for that one, and we had a lot of abuse. And there were people coming up to us being like, this is disgusting. Bearing in mind, there were placards with fruit saying what, at what week it was, and then giving a little blurb about that week of pregnancy. People saying this is disgusting, you guys are gender traitors, where are you getting this information from? And we were like, literally the NHS website, the source is right on the on the placard, so bye. But anyway, so that one was kind of crazy actually, and that got a lot more hate than I expected it to. And so that's the kind of way we're trying to kind of approach it. Hopefully in the future we kind of have some more adventurous ones, but I think UK young people are a bit hesitant, which is fair enough, because you do get a lot of abuse and you get harassed and you get pushed out of the public space and you're losing your friends and family, and you're going to get death threats and stuff like that. So it's understandable why young people don't really want to be publicly anti-abortion, but we're trying to build up kind of the courage within our movement to help empower and inspire other young people to be more bold about their beliefs, so that people can see it's actually a normal belief that lots of people hold. But anyway, and then we've got Baby Basket Initiative. So that is basically, Choice for Two, Laura Clarkson in
No.
Canada. Okay, well, she does baby baskets for people in crisis pregnancies, women in crisis pregnancies in Canada and sometimes the US. And so it's basically, you do it all online, it's all anonymous, and we're able to provide practical items of child, that care for newborn babies to women who are struggling in pregnancy. So we're in touch with a couple of women at the moment about getting them all set and sorted, these women who've rejected abortion, and just need a bit of help. So that's really encouraging and amazing to be in touch with these strong women. And then the final thing that we have is kind of like, well, final two things. We have social events regularly for young pro-life people so they can kind of get a community. We think that's really important, again, for kind of building that courage. And we have council campaigns, which we're trying to get into place, but because we have limited time and limited team members, and we only launched 5 months ago, there's a lot that we're doing, and we're trying to get everything kind of working together smoothly. And it's amazing because we're all volunteers. So like, we have full-time jobs or are full-time students and are doing this all in our spare time, which is, again, amazing because it shows the dedication of young people to this cause, which is, kind of hopeful for the UK's future. But yeah, it's been really exciting. Really crazy, really exciting. So yeah.
Awesome. By the way, I have someone with a leaf blowers right outside my window. So I've been trying to I don't know if you can hear them, but that's why I've been muting myself. Okay.
I can't hear them.
Yeah, no, but suffice it to say, that's awesome. Yeah, I really like that. What were some of the your favorite stats from the NHS website?
Oh, they were all kind of fetal development. So, at X amount of weeks, the child is the size of a coconut. And it's funny because on the NHS website, they say unborn baby. They don't say fetus, which is technically correct as well. They don't say anything like that. They say your unborn child, the unborn baby, the mother, they use those words. And so again, for people to be so angry about that and angry about the different developmental stages, and if you were there, the reactions we got, it was like we were showing graphic abortion victim imagery when it was literally a colorful placard with a cartoon fruit on it. And at this week, that at X amount of weeks, the unborn baby is the size of X, and then a tiny little blurb. So again, some of them, the heartbeat starts at around about 21 days from conception. People don't think that, that's 3 weeks. Usually that's kind of around the time a woman find out she's pregnant already, they have a heartbeat, different things like that. At 12 weeks, the fetus is fully formed. There's nothing that needs to happen anymore. It just needs to grow. It just needs to get bigger. At 14 weeks, they can, interact with their surroundings, stuff like that. But then as well as the hate, there were lots of people who actually were really impressed and they did take pictures. So I'm just making it out like it was really terrible, but actually it was good and bad. So
right. And this is the thing I was, and I think we probably talked about it on the last time we did a show, but the idea that the fulcrum of whether or not it's a life is whether or not I want it is morally reprehensible.
Yeah.
It's unfucking forgivable.
Totally.
The idea that the NHS would say it's an unborn baby. Here's some info about your unborn baby that you want. And as soon as you decide, I don't think I want this, call it a fucking fetus. It's a clump of cells. Kill it. Get it out. That's disgusting. That's fucking disgusting.
But even if you go to pro-aborts, right? Abortion advocates. So I'm currently 13 and a half weeks pregnant. And even they're like, oh, congratulations. And it's like, why are you congratulating me? It's like, for what? It's like, they're like, oh, you're going to find out, is it a boy or a girl? I thought it was just a clump of cells. You know, it's like, again, when you want it, oh, it's congratulations. Yeah, it's amazing. And then when you don't, it's like, oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Right.
It is honestly crazy. And even when I went to my scan, the guy doing the scanning, it was a guy. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, beside the point, when I walked in, he was like, yes, the pregnancy. And I was like, the baby. You mean the baby? Pregnancy is is what I am. I'm pregnant. It's not the pregnancy. Anyway.
Right. It's maybe a more sterile way to, put it in a box, for them. Do you think it's all subconscious? Do you think that it's conscious?
I don't know. It's probably just so ingrained in them because of the whole medical training stuff. They probably just don't even know any better. And I'm just sitting there fuming about nothing. But still, it's a bit insensitive.
Right.
There's the baby's on the screen. It's a baby.
Right. it's like, and again, I know this is, everybody cover your ears, but this is conservatish, so you're going to have to deal with it. The fact that it's some sort of magical, that the labia is some sort of magical wall, right? Where if it's inside the labia, you can kill it, but if it's outside the labia, then it's a life. Like not a life, it's a life, not a life. Like there is no portal there. In fact, you actually posted a few weeks ago about how a 12-week-old baby, was born. What's the word I'm looking for?
Premature. No, 21 weeks. 21 week premature.
21 weeks. Born premature. We're like, could it sustain itself at that point? No. Does that mean we should hit it with a hammer or poison it? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah. Well, even babies, they can't sustain themselves.
Right.
Some old people can't sustain themselves. People with disabilities, they can't sustain themselves.
Right.
So where does it end?
Right. And another real popular one that they go to is the idea of rape. I think the statistic that I remember in America is what, 0.5%.
I don't know about America. It's like, I think it's like extraordinarily low. I don't know the exact figure, but it's, I know what 98% of abortions are and another 1%. So it's, under 99%. One of the reasons, but it's the first thing they go to. It's the first thing, and it's every single freaking time the first thing. What about rape and incest? You just know it's coming, and it's such a disingenuous way to start a conversation, because it's kind of like you have just taken the most extreme case and the most rare and tried to use it to justify all abortions. Not only that, but you've also trivialized a really traumatic situation for women just so that you can use that and use them to push your ideology. It's so sick. And, I think I'm going to start doing that to people, because now at the moment I'm kind of like, oh, well, rape and that's, just kind of like going through it, empathetically, which I am empathetic, but it's getting to the point now where this is so ridiculous that people keep bringing it up. They just need to be told, stop being so disgustingly just disingenuous and insensitive, because it's so sick. Anyway, right. Sorry.
It is.
Yeah.
No, you're on the right show to rant, my dear. Like, this is the one to do it.
Thanks.
But therapy. Yeah. And it's that same thing. I can't remember. It's like, oh, well, what about in cases of rape or incest? Okay, you know what? You're right. Let's give you that. Let's say, okay, in cases of rape and incest. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what? Because 98% of the time, it's like, I'm not ready. I don't know if I can sustain it. I feel poor. He left. I don't know if he's going to stay. I don't know. It's like, it's a horrible, weird position to be in. Can you tell me a couple of experiences where have you spoken? Like, did you speak with that woman about the baby basket who decided to keep the baby?
Yeah. So all the women that we are helping, we have like contact with them and stuff, and we speak to them and everything like that. And I mean, we did this when Grace and I were doing Abortion, It's a Black and White Issue. We also helped other women as well. And it's really sad because, again, I think that, you have kind of two camps in the anti-abortion movement. You have the women are not victims camp. No woman's a victim of abortion. Women know exactly what they're doing. They're doing this to be malicious and nasty. And then you have the other camp, which is kind of like, well, women are victims of the abortion industry. They often feel like they have no choice because of societal pressures from partner, family, friends, education, careers, everything like that. Exactly. So they aren't victims. They are victims of the abortion industry, and they are also secondary victims of the abortion, because a lot of the times they go away with extreme post-abortion trauma. If they don't realize it at the time, it might manifest in years later, years to come, and they're not allowed to speak about it ever, because the pro-abortion lobby will shut them down. And some pro-lifers do as well, which I also think is disgusting, So I do think I'm in the second camp. I think women are they are victims of the abortion industry, and I think there are obviously exceptions to that, and there are women out there who do know what they're doing, and who who know exactly what's going on, and I think that's just awful. But I do think the majority of women are coerced in some form. And I mean, being pregnant's hard. Do you know what I mean? Your emotions are all over the place. Your hormones, everything's heightened. You're tired all the time. There's just so much going on that I can imagine if I, thank goodness I'm in a very, I'm in an okay position. But if I wasn't, you can understand why a woman might feel that that's her only way of, moving forward with her life, which is really sad, and it should never happen to anyone. So
Right. No, but that's a really good point. I think it's complicated too often, and it's a normal, natural human thing to think of things in a black and white issue, or not like you're
Lol.
no, to think about things so myopically that it's in reaction. I think a lot of the people on our side are reacting to a coldness that they see from activists, right? Are
Yeah.
reacting to the overreach by activists, to the myopia of activists, that we think that it's actually the person. You know what I mean? Where, like, as an example, not all trans people want to use, not all trans men want to use the women's bathroom. Like, that's not a thing. You know what I mean? Like, so to say, like, all trans, get rid of them, like, whoa. Like, don't throw the baby out with the, pro, anti-baby activist. So, but along with that, oh man, you were just talking about something I wanted to. I couldn't remember what I was going to say. Oh, you were talking about reaching out to women. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Okay, we're talking about post-abortive women.
Huh?
Post-abortive women who are, I don't know. Anyway, we can come back to it. I'll come to you.
It'll come back. It was really, pithy and wise and very funny. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I heard it.
I do remember. Aha. Feliciano is the best of all time. So I had a guest on back in the early days of Conservatish. Y'all will remember the Good Girl. The Good Girl was a guest, and don't listen to her episodes because they're very dirty. And I know a lot of people who follow Eden probably don't like dirty words, but
Well, it depends. Is it black and white issue, or is it abortion resistance?
That's true.
Anyway, carry on.
There's a lot of sex in those episodes, but the Good Girl, on the third time she was on my show on Conservatish, subscribe and like and follow. She told a story about I think she was 21 or 23 years sober at the time she was on. I mean, she's still sober. We're good friends. She's a great person. But when she was younger, she told this story of being 15 years old. She was already doing drinking and doing drugs, right? And she was running around with a little boyfriend. They're teenagers, rebels, and blah 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 blah. And it turns out she goes into the hospital because of appendicitis, I believe it was. And she's hopped up on pain medication. She's 15 fucking years old, hopped up on pain medication, and the doctor comes in and says, "So it turns out you're also pregnant. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you an abortion." And that's the way the doctor said it. Okay, this was in the 80s. At some point, the doctor said, "So you're pregnant, and so what we're going to do is give you an abortion." And again, she's 15 years old and she's on pain medication. She's not in her right mind. Her mom's like, "Whoa. What do you mean we're just going to give her an abortion?" Right? But she tells this story, and even though the Good Girl and I had a nice conversation afterwards about the complicated matter and the complicated issue, blah 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 blah, she was like, "Thank God my mom was there, because if my mom wasn't there, they would have aborted the baby, and I wouldn't have my daughter." You know what I mean?
That is so sad, and it's like, again, that is a common thing. Oh, you're pregnant. Oh, I'm just gonna get an abortion. Like the coercion, the amount of people who were coerced, it's just like shocking. And I've heard stories of people who've literally been dragged into clinics and gone through it forcibly. Like, that's just scary. And again, it's really sad because these women don't have a space where they can come out and speak about this, without being shamed or told to shut up, and we don't want to hear anything you have to say, because post-abortion trauma and regret isn't a thing, or guilt isn't a thing. But for anyone listening, if you're in the UK, there are places. There's Abortion Recovery Care and Helpline, and there's also Her Voice, which and Rachel's Vineyard, actually, who open up their arms to give to give voices to these women who have had abortions, and it can all be anonymous if you've experienced anything like that and need to just get it out. So sorry, just had to throw that in there.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of those. I had Kristen Hopkins was on my show. She's a great lady, and we had a nice conversation about even in the US, there's a ton of opportunities, a ton of help there if you And I have found from my experience with other things, like when I want the help and I just ask for it, the universe seems to show up for me in abundant ways. It's usually when I think, as an example, I'm about to graduate college. I've been going to school for the last 2 years for audio production, but
seriously?
So it's been like 29 months, right? Because it's all 4 years smushed into this short thing online. It's a lot, but it's good.
Yeah.
But if you had told me, 30 months ago that I could go to school, I used to think that I was, and I would say it out loud. I would say, I'm computers, or I'm people smart, I'm street smart, I'm not book smart. You know what I mean? And I would tell myself this lie, and I would tell myself that there weren't resources, and I would tell myself that's what other people do. Other people go to school. They're that, I'm this, I'm that. And it turns out that was all bullshit, because I've got a 3.98 GPA. Okay.
Well done.
So I'm just saying, as soon as you open your mouth, as soon as you open yourself, if you're looking for help, there is abundant help out there, even outside the box that you wouldn't have even figured. You know what I mean? Even if you're atheist, ladies, even if you think, fuck God, ain't no blah, blah, people will help you. Okay. You don't have to, this isn't 1950. You don't have to say a prayer in order to get help. Okay. Just ask for help and the help will show up.
Agreed.
So let's we'll go a few more minutes if you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. This has actually been really interesting for me. Sorry, I'm just going to interject, because I don't usually talk about anything other than abortion. So like the first 25 minutes of this conversation, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm sharing a bit about my thoughts on other things, which I don't usually do, because then people like get mad. But anyway, so yeah, we can go on for a bit longer.
CONSERVATISH is the greatest show of all time. Like, subscribe, everybody. I hate that shit. I do. Like,
it has to be done. It has to be done. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So just own it.
Yeah, but I want to pay somebody else to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to pay another person, because what was I doing last night? I was doing I was working on my website, and revamping my website. And it just, it's like, can I just give somebody else the reins on this? This is annoying, hours and hours,
I know, anyway. Dedication, guys. So please like and subscribe and get them as Patreon if you have that. Tell them your Patreon name.
All right. It's patreon.com/conservatish.
Okay, everyone.
So what are the like, when it comes to next steps, in America, Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Yes.
Right? And now each state has its druthers, whether it wants to be, like Oregon or Washington, where it's just like, come, we'll kill your babies, or whether it wants to be like another one. We've got movement happening, right?
Yes, totally.
What movement is happening in the UK?
Flipping heck. Good question. Gosh. Well, so on the pro-abortion side, pro-abortion advocates are working to decriminalize abortion completely. So that basically means abortion up to birth for any reason. So if you're unfamiliar, in the UK, you can have abortion up to 24 weeks for any reason, and right up until birth for a suspected fetal disability. And by fetal disability, that could be a cleft lip and palate or a club foot. I was on Twitter today and somebody was like, that is so false. You can't have an abortion up to birth in this country for that. And I literally sent like 6 links being like, babes, you need to look it up because you can. That is shocking. Anyway, so pro-abortion advocates are trying to decriminalize abortion, and with the anti-abortion movement, I'm not too sure what steps are being made to put in legislation, because I am not particularly politically inclined. I don't really get involved in politics that much because, again, like, I've got like bigger fish to fry. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to save babies out here. However, there are some great organizations in the UK who are in the campaigning sector, who are working with politicians or in politics. And I'm not too sure what they're doing. Abortion Resistance isn't like a campaigning group in that sense. We don't do with politics. We deal with kind of culture. So for me, I don't know how it's going to work, but abortion is going to become illegal eventually. However, before abortion becomes illegal, and I think I say this to everyone, we need to make it kind of unthinkable. So we need to kind of get a culture that actually values life before we can make any like legal changes, or, you know, while we make legal changes, because again, it's all very well changing the law, but if you don't have a people, a society of people who are on your side, then it's just going to go right back to where it was. So we need to really start kind of opening up the conversation, speaking to people about this, helping them see, why we're against abortion, helping them see we're not crazy people, we're not insane, we don't hate women, we don't want to control women's bodies or force women to become pregnant. We're just there because we don't agree with killing unborn humans, and because we actually think abortion is a misogynistic thing that impacts women negatively. So that's the kind of goal for us that we're working towards. And I think a lot of the UK organisations are working towards as well. And I think although it seems a bit dismal at the moment, because, you have all this great progress going on in America, there are baby steps, things are happening. It doesn't seem like that over here. But I think there are a lot more pro-life people in the UK than the media would have you believe. And I think that it will keep growing, because I think women will keep being hurt by abortion. So they'll become more pro-life, which is, I've seen countless times from people who are my friends, they've had abortions. It's scarred them terribly. And they're now pro-life, and they don't want any other woman to have to go through that. And then I also think, again, like, we're building a pro-life generation, and people are having the courage to come out and counteract all the nonsense that we're hearing in the media. And that's being spread online. So that doesn't really answer your question. I've just kind of like waffled on, but who cares? I'm joking.
Well, and another thing that is doable is helping the movement in itself is, making this voting with our money, right?
Yes.
The one thing I've noticed about the UK, and I haven't been in a long time, and when I did go, it was like, for a week. I was in Wimbledon, blah blah blah. Like, it's not. Yeah. I had some, some great Indian food. That's all I really remember was was good Indian food. And people driving on the wrong side of the road. But I do know, like we were saying earlier, there's a movement, and it's, I think, even more acute in the UK, of niceness. Like, everything I see on Netflix, as an example, everything I see from BBC the last couple of years is so sterile and clean. Like, on Netflix, it's just so, it looks like a hospital. Okay.
Yeah.
Like a fucking hospital, and it's creepy. Okay. Just the production style, just the Great British Baking Show, where it's just like,
it's just
clean all the time, and everything's good, and everybody's just the perfect, and
like puppets.
Like puppets. And so any way I can make little decisions to take away their money, which is my money, right? Any way I can make little decisions to support a show that doesn't have that, or to go to a comedy show of somebody who's a little bit problematic, you know what I mean? Or to pay money to buy a song that I like, or to, support as an example, like, buying herbs and the soil from a place when I was buying soil, right?
Yeah.
Austin is very hippie, you know what I mean? But homesteady hippie, because they like their Texas. You know what I mean? You can vote blue no matter who all you want, girl. You're still surrounded by red hell, and I love it to death. But when they were buying, when I was asking what soil is best, and she's like, well, what you need to do is get the Happy Frog soil, and it's not certified organic because it's a smaller farm and they don't have the money to, but it's verified. We verify that it's organic. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna give them my money instead of the Starbucks version of that. I'm going to the smaller coffee shops, supporting smaller businesses, supporting because I would way rather trust somebody I don't know than somebody I know 100%. Starbucks, as an example.
Yeah.
Or Amazon, who is just, have you noticed, by the way, and I know Amazon as an example, I know I'm going off on a quick rant, but like, everything, like, they're pushing more and more, like, I can't, to try to find something made in the United States on Amazon is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's fucking impossible. They're just like, here, want all this China stuff? Want all this China? And it's just like, no, I don't, because I have to return, 1 out of every 5 things that I buy from you. So taking my time to say screw convenience. And again, I know it sounds silly, but like, little decisions like that do make a difference.
They do make a difference. Yeah, absolutely. And I think something, I know it's not completely related, but it is kind of related because it's to do with money. Like, in America, people have to pay for their own abortions, don't they? I'm pretty sure they do.
No. I mean, in some cases, but there's a lot of places. There's a lot of places where even if they go to a clinic and they don't have insurance, they can like sign up for the state insurance after they go to a clinic, right? A lot of
Interesting.
state insurances will backdate, 5, 6 months or whatever. So even if they wanted to, there's a lot of loopholes and
Loopholes.
yeah.
Interesting, because I was going to say in the UK, 98% of abortions are paid with taxpayer money, which is really, really crap.
Yeah.
It's really
And
mad.
already your taxes are pretty insane.
Yeah, they are. They're insane. Yeah.
But the NHS has rainbow. Isn't it nice and rainbows and rainbows, right, guys?
It's colourful.
Rainbows and green. If you smile, like I was just working on some fucking tweet or whatever. I was just saying, like, how everybody for the entire history of man, elites have believed themselves to be superior to the working class. You know how that has happened for all of time? Well, now that the elites don't like Donald Trump, then you don't have to worry about elites taking advantage of us anymore. You know what I mean? Because they believe the same things as you, because they posted a black
Yes.
square after George Floyd died, now we don't have to worry about elites taking
About
advantage of
anything.
us. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're smiling,
Yeah,
they're
it's clean.
rainbows.
They're clean. I know, totally. You just trust them 100%. Like it's a no-brainer.
And also, before we go, I wanted to ask, because I know Planned Parenthood is off top. They are insane over here, in the ways of, um, as I said in a tweet a few months ago, like, it's not that we don't believe, it's not that pro-lifers believe that forcing a woman to stay pregnant is insane. We just think that killing a child and selling its body parts is
Isn't
more
it?
insane.
Yeah, totally.
That's
Totally.
all. So and it's verified. It's not made up. It's not, Planned Parenthood and many abortion clinics make money
Oh,
off
yeah.
selling babies'
Baby
body parts.
parts. I
And
know.
surprise, surprise, the mother doesn't get a cent from that. Isn't that interesting? Not even that.
It's
But
crazy.
is that happening in the UK?
I don't know. The majority of our abortions take place before 10 weeks with the medical abortion pill. So you have the two different types of abortion, surgical and medical. I don't know, but last time I read, surgical is more prominent in the States because I think again the whole harvesting of body parts thing is quite prominent over there. I can't say the same thing about here because the majority of abortions take place before 10 weeks or around that mark from the medical abortion pills. A very few are done surgically, in like statistically. I mean, not it's like like a few hundred, like a few thousand, but in the statistics area, it's like I think 20%, something like that. I could be wrong. I have to go double check. So I don't think anything like that's happening over here. I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out. I'm not sure. But we do have now, we have kind of a pills by post scheme. So over the COVID period, women were allowed to call up the abortion clinics and get both abortion pills sent to their homes where they could self-administer their abortions, basically. And now after COVID, that kind of came into law. So now it's permanent. So anyone can ring up the mother, the sister, the daughter, the friend, call up. Hi, my name's XYZ. I'm X weeks pregnant. They don't need to have a face-to-face meeting with any medical professional. They get sent the pills and that's it. So a woman could be at her home having her everything expelled. She could be past the legal time limit, which is 10 weeks for a medical abortion. She could be have the pills shoved down her throat from her boyfriend. You just don't know. So there's been huge negligency from medical professionals in that area. I know it's not the same as cutting up baby limbs and selling them, but it's seriously hurting women, and it is absolutely disgusting and shocking. So I know that there's negligence going on in that part, and I just think it's just tragic for women. So
And if you're listening in the UK, you bought it. You are
yeah,
paying,
I know our
not
money.
anyone else, not the mom, not the dad, not the evil boyfriend, not the aunt, not the sister, not the mom. You're paying for it. Okay?
Yes,
So
our money.
sleep at night. Yeah. I love disturbing conversation.
Yeah, it's really sick, isn't it? So twisted. And these women, do you know, there have been women who have died because they've said they were 10 weeks pregnant and actually they were 24 weeks. So they've taken the pills and had to give birth to their dead 24-week-old baby, which has then killed them because they're in their homes. They lied to the medical professionals. They didn't even check. They didn't even do a Zoom call. They don't even do a Zoom call. And like that's happened like several times. So I mean, again, you can say the abortion industry cares about women, but they actually don't. And you know, the UK's abortion industry, as well as the USA's, is a prime example of that. So yeah,
Gross. Yeah.
totally.
All right. So, as far as next steps, how can people support you? Where can people find you, dear?
So people can find us www.abortionresistance.org.uk. There is a little donate button if you want to donate. You can donate on PayPal, or you can set up a bank transfer. If you want to do a standing order every month, that would be much appreciated. Again, we're all volunteers. We don't get paid for this. Everything goes back into either helping women or buying supplies for us, for example, like leaflets and placards for our rallies. And then you can reach us on all social media platforms at Abortion Resist. So that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, Snapchat. And then if you want to catch me on my socials, it's just at Eden McCourt. And I don't have a website because I don't do cool things like that. But anyway, so that's where you can find us.
Awesome. And you've got obviously that talk with Zuby out, and then do you have more media stuff you're working
on? So I think I've got another podcast next week with someone from South Africa, which will be posted on social media, and also something I don't know, but there might be stuff coming up in the future. I can't say too much about it.
No, I don't want you to. Yeah, I don't want you to whatever. I'm just saying, as far as the cultural, because at the moment, you know, there's not legislation on the move in the UK. So really, it's a culture thing first. So, but people
culture thing first. Right. We're going to win the culture war, and as soon as the culture war is almost won, the legislation will pass through, and then all abortion in the UK will be ended, and that is the plan.
It's really it's a trite thing to say in our movement, but you know, politics is downstream from culture. When you fix the culture, the rest of it, as I tweeted yesterday, no one in August of 2022 is turning woke now. Okay. No one is turning, let's say, pro-choice. No one is turning pro-choice now. Like, well, I was pro-comedy, pro-medical freedom. I was anti-killing babies, but that AOC is making some good points. No, that's not happening right now. It's only happening the other direction. You fix the culture, you fix the rest of it.
Agreed. Yes. Now, everyone, like, subscribe, donate, find him on Patreon, conservatish.com/conservatish, and make sure you donate. And if anyone wants to help him with his website, then do it.
Yeah, damn it. I'm tired of this. I don't want to choose fonts. I'm tired of choosing fonts. And you can find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano, Feliciano. I'm on Twitter at Rule62Peter. And yeah, thank you so much, Eden. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me again. Hopefully, I'm going to get you on ours next time.
I'm ready, and I'll be just as filthy or not filthy as you want me to be.
Okay, don't worry. There's no like rules about that.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
All right. I'll see you later.
See you later. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.